If you're into Game Boy, there's a good chance you'll like my new Neo Geo Pocket Color series too. Every Thursday I'm reviewing a new Neo Geo game. Just join the PO3 Patreon or become a channel member here on YouTube. The beautiful game took a bit of a kicking on the original Game Boy, possibly more so than any other sport on it. Of the 22 soccer games on the DMG, yeah, seriously, that's one for each player on the bloody pitch. I wholeheartedly can only really recommend like 5 or 6 of them. Watch this video here, link in the description, to see which ones are worth a damn and which ones are garbage. I'd be lying if I said I felt any more optimistic on this newer console. Honestly, my expectations are so low, and I don't dare hope for anything playable, even though the pitches are now green and you can tell the two teams apart. This is one of those that was localized into a bunch of different titles, with different licensing depending on the country of its release. You need to understand just how tribal football is, especially in Europe. No one in France is going to buy Matthias Sammer soccer, for instance, in the same way that nobody outside of England is going to even entertain the idea of buying a game called Three Lions, not even in Scotland. So if you were going to rely on licensing an official team to sell your game, instead of, I don't know, making a decent game, you kinda had to customize it for the individual markets. Three Lions is essentially a licensed game for the England national team, but the game was also known as Golden Goal in Germany and other regions, and also Pro Foot in France, for instance. Looking at the version Three Lions, you have the official England kits for the time, and even the proper squad, which actually was a really good one. Yeah, we didn't win anything, but England never win anything. It wasn't quite the level of a few years after this, like 2002 or so, but still. Shearer, Sheringham, Scholes, Beckham, even Gascoigne was still in the team somehow. I want to remark on something pretty cool, and also a bit strange. The music menu is a weird thing to find in a football game anyway on the surface, but it does actually make a bit of sense if you read some of the titles. Now, whatever songs you select into that second box on the screen will actually influence what the crowd chants during game. Well, it's chiptunes, of course, but even so, it's a pretty funny addition that doesn't get irritating until, well, at least the second half of the first game. Weirdly, there isn't the song Three Lions to choose from. I guess the Lightning Seeds didn't want anything to do with this. But you'll find all the other classics there. Forever Blowing Bubbles, it's a reference to the West Ham United theme rather than anything to do with Michael Jackson. You Fat... is aimed at no one in particular, but still seems a weird slur for a bunch of actual fat bastards to be singing towards professional athletes. And of course, the referees... will play that good old English folk song of the terraces that ends in a word that rhymes with investment banker. Whether or not anything untoward actually happens in-game to justify this, I can confirm that yes, the referee does indeed work in finance. Graphically, this is pretty limited, favouring the safer top-down aspect rather than anything isometric or three-dimensional, which I'm actually quite pleased about because that simply doesn't work on the Game Boy. The stripped-back aspect, yeah, some might call it lazy, and you wouldn't be wrong, does certainly help with the pace of the play. There's absolutely no slowdown at all here. It's really speedy and feels a bit like a rough version of sensible soccer. That's a really generous comparison right there, as there's nothing else close to the level of fun to be had here, but it's about as fast as that. The ball moves at the same speed though, whether you pass, shoot, do a goal kick, whatever. There's absolutely no finesse. Any shot on goal will more than likely just balloon over the bar unless you're really close. Even penalties. It doesn't matter whether you hold or press the button. I say button, I'm not sure whether A or B was intended to be the shoot button, as they both seem to do the same thing when you're in a goal scoring position. The referee as well will blow up for a foul for basically any tackle, even if there's no connection between the players. You don't even have to be near an opponent. Three Lions, Golden Goal or whatever is sadly very buggy and feels untested. Not really even sure why this needed to be rushed out to this extent anyway. There was no international tournament in 1999 to push the game out to fair weather England fans. France 98 was nearly a year gone at this point, we didn't win that, and World Cup 2000 was still ages away, we didn't win that either, with any international football in 1999 being little more than a week off from the domestic leagues. Yeah, sadly it seems that the Game Boy Color is going to follow the same pattern as the DMG with its soccer games. This is all kinds of not very much fun. Look, let's just hope this is a preseason friendly. We're still trying to work out the best formation, some players still need to come in, and we don't need to linger for too long on the results.